The twin suns of Haven 9 were just beginning to set, painting the sky orange and red. Children laughed as they ran across the colony square, and music played from the loudspeakers. The settlers were celebrating 10 years of survival on this distant world. It was supposed to be a night of joy. Commander Reyes stood on the platform smiling as he looked over the crowd. He was a tall man with graying hair, his uniform neat despite the dust of the colony. 10 years ago, he said into the microphone, we landed here with nothing but hope and courage. Tonight we celebrate what we built, our farms, our homes, our future. Cheers filled the air. People clapped, drank, and danced. For a moment, Haven 9 felt like the safest place in the galaxy. But safety was an illusion. Later that night, as the celebration wound down, the first scream echoed through the fields. It was sharp and short, and then there was silence. A farmer named Elias was the first to see it. He had been checking the livestock pens when he found the fence torn open. The ground was marked with deep claw prints, and the bodies of 2 animals lay on the ground, blood drained, eyes wide. He called security, panic in his voice. By morning, the colony was tense. Commander Reyes called an emergency meeting. This was not an accident, said Dr. Lena Park, the colony's biologist, as she pointed to the images on the screen. These tracks don't match any known animal. And the wounds. They were made by something intelligent. Something hunting for sport. Reyes frowned. Are you saying we have predators here that we didn't detect when we surveyed the planet? No, she replied. We surveyed everything. Whatever did this wasn't here before. It arrived recently. That was the first time the name Carrick was spoken on Haven 9. A trader recognized the pattern of the attack from old space records. Carrick, he said, fear in his voice. Pack hunters. I heard stories about them back near the core. Whole outposts wiped out. People say they don't eat what they kill, they just enjoy the hunt. The room went silent. Reyes stood straighter. We have walls, sensors, and weapons. We're not helpless. Double the perimeter guards and activate the defense drones. No one goes outside the walls alone. For a few days, life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be. The colonists kept working, but always looking over their shoulders. The night watch grew larger and no one left their homes after dark. Then the attacks got worse. One evening, a pair of scouts failed to return from the northern ridge. Search teams went out at dawn. They found the scouts' vehicles overturned, the metal shredded like paper. Blood marked the rocks, but there were no bodies. This isn't random, Lena said when she examined the scene. They're testing us, learning how we react. The next night, the Carrick came closer. The colony's cameras caught a brief glimpse of them. Tall, muscular shapes with long limbs moving on 4 legs but rising on 2 when they attacked. Their eyes glowed in the dark. The footage spread fear like wildfire. We can't wait for Earth to send help, Reyes told the council. We have to defend ourselves. We hold the walls, we protect our people, and we make them regret coming here. They armed every colonist with rifles. Engineers set up motion sensors and automated turrets. Miners built barricades from heavy equipment. Haven 9 turned into a fortress. Then the night came when everything went wrong. The sensors lit up with movement just after midnight. Dozens of fast-moving signals surrounded the colony. Alarms blared. Positions, Reyes shouted. Colonists ran to the walls, rifles ready. The drones buzzed overhead, scanning the dark fields. The first Carrick hit the fence like a living missile, tearing through the metal. Others followed, climbing with claws that sparked against the wire. The turrets opened fire, bright flashes lighting the night, but the Carrick moved too fast. One broke through near the eastern gate. A colonist screamed as the creature tackled him, claws slashing. People fired at it, finally bringing it down, but more leaped over the wall behind it. It was chaos. The drones fought in the air, firing streams of plasma, but the Carrick worked together, attacking from multiple directions. They were coordinated, like wolves circling prey. Reyes fought on the wall, firing shot after shot. Hold the line, he yelled, but already he knew they were losing ground. The creatures were inside the colony now, among the homes. Families ran for the underground shelters. The air was filled with gunfire, screams, and the guttural roars of the Carrick. After what felt like hours, the last of the creatures fled back into the night, leaving the colony smoking and broken. When dawn came, Haven 9 counted its losses. Dozens of colonists were gone, some dead, some missing. Several key systems were damaged, including power generators. Reyes stood in the square looking at the wreckage of what had been a place of celebration just days ago. His face was hard, his voice steady. "They think we're prey," he said to the survivors gathered around him. "They think they can hunt us until we break. But they're wrong. We will fight. We will learn. And one day we will make sure they never hunt anyone ever again." The people of Haven 9 nodded. Fear turned into anger. The first battle had been lost, but the war was just beginning. The morning after the attack, the colony square was quiet. Smoke still rose from burned-out homes. Families stood together silent, their faces pale and hard. Children cried softly, clutching their parents. Commander Reyes stood in front of them, his uniform torn and dirty from the fight. His voice carried over the square. "We lost good people last night," he said, his tone calm but sharp. "But we are still here. And we will not wait for them to come again. We are going to fight back." No one cheered, but everyone nodded. There was no celebration in this decision, only determination. Preparing for war, the next days were filled with work. The colony's engineers, led by Chief Mechanic Holt, turned every piece of equipment into a weapon. Mining drones were refitted with steel plating and plasma cutters. Old cargo haulers were turned into armored barricades. Farmers, who had never fired a weapon before, trained with rifles in the colony square. Children and elders were moved deep into the underground tunnels where food and water were stored. Dr. Lena Park worked without sleep, studying everything they had on the Karak. She examined blood samples from the dead creature they had managed to recover after the battle. "They're smart," she told Reyes one night in the lab. "Smarter than we thought. They communicate with sound, clicks, growls, even whistles. If we can break that communication, we can confuse them." "How?" Reyes asked. "Sound," Lena replied. "Loud sound. The right frequency might disrupt the way they hunt together. I just need to find it." Holt and his engineers built powerful speakers using old colony equipment. Lena began running tests with recorded Karak sounds, searching for the tone that made them flinch or back away. The next attack, 3 nights later, the Karak came again. This time, Haven 9 was ready. Motion sensors triggered alarms long before the creatures reached the walls. The drones hovered in position, ready to strike. Colonists stood at their posts, weapons steady. When the first pack appeared out of the darkness, Holt gave the signal. The new speakers came alive, blasting a high, piercing sound across the fields. The effect was instant. The Karak stumbled, their smooth formation breaking apart. Some dropped to the ground, covering their ears. Others scattered, confused. "Open fire," Reyes shouted. Plasma bolts and bullets filled the night. For the first time, humans were not just defending, they were pushing back. The drones hunted the scattered Karak, cutting them down one by one. The battle ended in minutes. Only a handful of Karak escaped into the wilderness. Cheers broke out along the walls. For the first time since the attacks began, the colonists felt hope. Taking the fight outside, Reyes called a meeting the next morning. "We cannot stay inside these walls forever," he said. "They will keep coming, and they will learn. We must go after them before they grow bolder." The council agreed. Hunting teams were formed. Fast groups of armed colonists, supported by drones and sonic weapons. They began tracking the Karak across the rocky hills and dense forests around Haven 9. Lena's research proved invaluable. "They have nests," she explained. "Small groups gather in caves or abandoned valleys. They are territorial, but if we wipe out enough nests, they will weaken." The hunts were dangerous. The Karak fought fiercely, ambushing the teams, but the colonists adapted quickly. They set traps using mining explosives, luring the creatures into kill zones. Every victory gave the people of Haven 9 more courage. Every captured Karak taught Lena more about their biology and behavior. One day, during an ambush in the western canyon, the colonists captured a live Karak, injured but breathing. They brought it back to the colony in a reinforced cage. Lena studied it for hours. The creature snarled and threw itself against the bars, but when she played back the high-frequency sound, it collapsed to the floor, shaking. "They're vulnerable," she told Reyes, her voice filled with excitement. "Not just to sound, but to coordination loss. If we can keep them from working together, we can win every fight." Reyes nodded. "Then that's exactly what we'll do." The big counterattack weeks passed. The colonists grew stronger, more organized. The colony was no longer just a settlement, it was a fortress. When scouts discovered the largest Karak pack gathering in a canyon to the north, Reyes saw his chance. "This is it," he said during the war council. We finish this. No more waiting for them to attack us. We take the fight to them. The colonists moved out at night using the cover of darkness. Drones scouted ahead, feeding live images to the command team. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the sonic weapons roared to life. The Carrick pack howled in pain and confusion as the high-pitched sound echoed through the canyon walls. Then the colonists attacked. Explosives buried in the cliffs brought down rock slides, cutting off escape routes. Drones fired from above while riflemen advanced on foot, picking off the panicked creatures. The battle was fierce but short. The Carrick fought with desperate fury, but they could no longer work together. One by one, they fell. When the sun was fully up, silence fell over the canyon. The largest Carrick pack was gone. A new threat appears. The colonists celebrated their victory that night, but the celebration was short-lived. Long-range scanners suddenly detected a massive object entering the system. The readings were clear. It was a ship, larger than anything the colonists had ever seen. "It's a Carrick mothership," Holt said grimly. "They're not done with us. They're bringing everything they have." Reyes stood on the command platform looking at the stars. His jaw tightened. "Then we finish what we started," he said. "If they want war, we will give them one. And this time we will end it." The people of Haven 9 prepared for the final battle. The colony was silent as everyone watched the mothership on the scanner screens. It was massive, a black shadow against the stars moving slowly toward Haven 9. Commander Reyes stood in the control room, his hands resting on the table. "This is their answer," he said. "They lost their packs, so now they're sending everything they have." Chief Mechanic Holt leaned over the console. "We don't have the firepower to stop a ship that size." "We don't need to stop it from orbit," Reyes said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. "We get inside and destroy it from within." The room went quiet. "You want to board it?" Holt asked. "Yes," Reyes replied. "If we stay here, they will rain fire on us until there's nothing left. But if we strike first, if we take the fight to them, we can finish this war once and for all." No one argued. The people of Haven 9 were done hiding. The final plan over the next 2 days they prepared. The colony's best pilots readied the shuttles. Engineers loaded explosives and sonic weapons onto every ship. Lena worked on a portable version of her frequency disruptor, powerful enough to fill the corridors of the mothership. On the third night, the sky above Haven 9 blazed with fire as the mothership entered low orbit. The ground shook as its weapons charged. Reyes gave the order. "Launch!" 3 shuttles shot up from the colony, engines burning bright. The mothership's guns opened fire, but the shuttles weaved through the blasts, using the planet's terrain for cover. As they reached the ship's underside, Holt activated the magnetic clamps. The shuttles slammed against the hull and locked in place. "Breaching now," Holt said, cutting a hole through the metal. Smoke hissed as the outer hull gave way. Reyes led the first team through the opening, weapons raised. Inside, the ship was dark and silent except for a low humming sound. The corridors were wide, lined with alien symbols glowing faintly on the walls. "They'll know we're here soon," Lena said quietly. "Then let's move fast," Reyes replied. Inside the beast, the humans split into 2 teams. One to plant explosives near the power core, the other to set up the sonic disruptor in the ship's main control area. The first Carrick appeared almost immediately, rushing down the corridor on all 4s. But the humans were ready. The disruptor roared to life, filling the halls with a high-pitched sound. The Carrick stumbled, their attack breaking apart. "Take them down!" Reyes shouted. Plasma fire lit the dark corridors as the humans advanced. They moved from room to room, clearing each one. The ship seemed alive, the walls vibrating as if the mothership itself was angry. At last they reached the power core. It was a massive chamber glowing with a cold blue light. Holt and his team planted the explosives carefully around the main conduits. "We have 5 minutes once we trigger these," Holt warned. "Then we trigger them on the way out," Reyes said. Meanwhile, Lena and her group reached the control chamber. It was filled with Carrick, all of them howling and clawing at the walls as the sonic weapon pulsed. "Hold them off!" Lena shouted as she set the disruptor into place. When it activated, its sound filled the entire ship. The Carrick collapsed, writhing on the floor, unable to move in unison. Reyes's voice came over the comms. "Charges are set. Get to the shuttles." The humans ran back through the corridors, fighting off the few Carrick still standing. The ship shook as systems failed under the sonic assault. At the last moment, they leapt through the breach into the shuttles. Holt hit the detonator, the end of the Carrack. The explosions tore through the mothership one after another until the entire vessel glowed like a dying star. From the surface of Haven 9, the colonists watched as the great ship broke apart in orbit, fire raining down through the atmosphere. Cheers erupted across the colony, but Reyes didn't celebrate yet. "We finished this," he said. For days, the colonists hunted down the surviving Carrack that had escaped to the planet's surface. There was no mercy. Every nest was burned, every trail followed. At last there were no more tracks, no more attacks, no more glowing eyes in the night. The Carrack were gone. A new reputation months later. Haven 9 was rebuilt. The colony square stood again, but this time there was no music or dancing. Instead, a memorial stone stood in the center, carved with the names of every colonist lost in the war. Commander Reyes stood before it, his uniform clean now, his face tired but proud. "We were hunted," he said to the gathered crowd, "but we did not bow. We fought. And because we fought, we are alive." Dr. Lena Park stepped forward and carved the last line into the stone. "They hunted without mercy, and so we gave them none." Silence filled the square. Then slowly the colonists nodded. Haven 9 was no longer just a colony. It was a warning to anything that might come hunting humans again. From that day forward, when travelers spoke of humanity, they did not call them prey. They called them the apex predators of the stars.